Once upon a time, there was a button.
Shine, shine, shine.
It was an ornament on the royal robe of a king. Whenever the king would wear his royal robe, the button would shine.
Shine, shine, shine.
As bright as the sun itself. Now one day, the king made a royal proclamation to all the people in the land.
Hear ye, hear ye. Because the harvest is plentiful and the fruit of the land abounds, we shall celebrate with a feast.
And all the people rejoiced. Hip, hip!
Hooray!
Hip, hip!
Hooray!
Hip, hip!
Hooray!
You guys are amazing. Invitations went out. The castle was decorated. A huge feast prepared. And all the people came. Everyone sang. Everyone laughed. And everyone ate at the party. The king ate until his belly became too big for his britches and the gold button popped off.
Oh no!
It rolled over the floor, out the door, down the hill, and landed with a thud. Next to a duck pond, the gold button was terrified. It tried desperately to be seen on the ground, but the button's brilliance was only a reflection of the light, and as the sun went down, the shiny gold button could no longer shine. Early the next morning, a princess came down to the river to feed the ducks. As the sun peeped over the hills to greet the day, the gold button began to shine again.
Shine, shine, shine.
The princess saw the button's reflection in the sunlight and ran towards it. Ran toward it. And she said,
"It's the most beautiful button I've ever seen. I'll come back to the castle and make a necklace out of this button."
Back at the castle, she threaded it with a gold thread and tied it around her neck. At first, the button was sad because she was no longer part of the king's royal robe. But as the others in the palace told the princess how beautiful the button was, the button began to shine again.
Shine, shine, shine.
As bright as the sun itself. But the princess's sister became jealous of the necklace, cut the shiny gold button off its cord, and threw it away. It rolled over the floor, out the door, down the hill, and landed with a thud. At the foot of a giant oak tree. 3 days later, a little boy came by to climb the tree and play in its branches. The button tried to shine. But the button was unnoticed because it was covered with dirt. But fortunately for the little button, the little boy was running in the field in his bare feet that very day, and he stepped on it. The button hurt the little boy's foot, and he cried in a loud voice, "Ouch!" He picked up the button to throw it down the hill. But wait! The little boy had a very wild and vivid imagination, and he wondered if it might be magic. So he held tightly onto the button. Hold tightly. You'll figure this out when you're about 16. And together they hiked long trails. Chased cows in the meadows. Chased cows in the meadows. And listened to the sounds of silence as nighttime fell across the land. At first, the button was sad because it was no longer an ornament on the royal robe of a king.
Wine, wine, wine.
Nor was it a jewel on the necklace of a princess.
Wine, wine, wine.
But the little boy began to share his ambitions and special dreams with the button. Things that cannot be scripted. Things that only the little boy knew. Such as, what is your favorite soft drink? Pepsi. You had to say that, didn't you? And what do you want to be when you grow up?
An insurance agent.
And such as, who was the first girl you ever kissed?
I don't know.
Some things just can't be told. Tried to get him to say mama. The button learned to love the little boy.
Shine, shine,
Wait,
shine.
love. Love to learn to love the little boy.
I love
And began to shine again.
Shine, shine, shine.
As bright as the sun itself. One day, the little boy and the gold button were hiking down a long trail near dusk when the button fell out of the little boy's pants and landed in a field of very high grass. Now, no one noticed the button for a day, and then 2 days, and then a week, and 2 weeks, and a month, and a year. Now the button was no longer beautiful. Now it was tarnished. You're first sad. The button was worn out. You're starting to cry more and more as you hear. And scratched. And then you sob uncontrollably. Who would possibly want the button now that it's useless? But then the ground started to shake. And the button heard the roar of an engine coming towards him. He looked up and saw a farmer on a tractor coming straight at him. It was going to run over him. And just when it was about to squish him, it stopped. The farmer got down off the tractor and he picked up the button. He looked at it in the sun and he said,
Well, look at here. A worn out old button. I know just what to do with this button.
Then the very strangest thing happened. He took a needle and thread out of his pocket and started to put the button on his jacket and button it up for perhaps the very first time. At first, the button was sad because it was no longer an ornament on the royal robe of a king.
Wine, wine, wine.
Nor was it a jewel on the necklace of a princess.
Wine, wine, wine.
Nor was it a friend to a little boy.
Wine, wine, wine.
But as the button realized that it was doing exactly what it was created to do, it began to shine again.
Shine, shine, shine.
As bright as the sun itself.